Hey guys, and welcome back. And in this video, we're going to be going over my Gear Chronicle standard deck profile. Now, this is a deck that I wasn't sure I was going to be bringing you guys. Some of you said you wanted to see it, so that helped. But the first draft of the deck that I made, I actually really enjoyed the deck. It brought back some memories. Jaden used to play the Gear Chronicle deck back in the Stride era, and we all remember Mellum, Urwater, TikTok bullshit. That was some crazy stuff. It's not as crazy this time. They probably checked Gear Chronicle a little bit because they didn't want to give people the headaches that they had in the previous meta way back when during the Stride format or the V era. Because the Mellum and the Urwater combo, it was absolutely insane, and it made people literally hate Gear Chronicle with a passion. But this deck now is a good, solid tier 1.5 deck in my opinion, mainly because it's not good enough for tier 1 at the moment, simply due to the fact that there is a risk that comes with playing this deck. If you play Gear Chronicle in Standard, or you've ever played it against it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, however, do not worry. We will get into all of that in the deck profile. So anyway, guys, let's jump straight into this. So, obviously, our starter is Chronodran. Chronodran is basically the starter for Gear Chronicle that's always been seen. However, you can use Chrono Tigar if you want. There is really no difference. So if you are a Chrono Tigar fan, feel free to use him. There's no difference between having Chronodran or Chrono Tigar. Whenever you do ride on him, if your opponent's already at grade 1, you can add a quick shield to your hand. So there's that. So we play 7 crit, and I do have the Heart Thump Workers, the Sentinel crit. I might play test them. I haven't yet. I'm not really sure how I feel about giving up my Perfect Guards for just a bigger shield. I might try that out, but as of right now, if I had to play this in a tournament today, I would not play the Sentinel crits. So 7 draw triggers, or 7 crit triggers. Wow. 4 draw PGs, for obvious reasons, and then 1 copy of Lucky Pot for 5 draw. So once again, we see the 7 crit, 5 draw, and 4 heal. That is probably my most common trigger lineup that I've ever used, and all of Vanguard. Next, we move to grade 1s. First card is Chrono Tooth Tigar, 4 copies. This card, guys, this card is expensive as hell. Now, if you are building this deck for fun, you do not need this card. If you are building this deck to be competitive level, you need this card. There are some people that say even competitively it can survive without this card, and maybe so, but it will be much harder to survive without it. This card is very good. It is your ideal grade 1 target. This card is going for anywhere between $25 to $30 a piece. So this card alone will cost you a pretty penny. It's probably I think it might be the most expensive double rare in Standard at the moment. I know Berserk Dragon for Kagero's up there at like 20. I could be wrong, but I know this card is it's demanding a high price right now. And the reason is, first skill, Vanguard. At the beginning of your ride phase, draw a card. So, say, this is insane. So, say you go first, you're going to ride, then draw a card. And then, during your next turn, you're going to stand, draw, to your ride phase, draw another card. If it was, and your opponent went first, you also got a quick shield token, so that's another card. So this card generates you a lot of early game advantage. It is so good at that. And then his other skill is whenever this card is discarded from your hand during your turn, you can counterblast 1, draw a card, and call this card to rearguard at rest. So if you pitch this for stride costs or for the cost of another effect, you can instantly just counterblast 1, get it back, and draw a card to replace him. So he is just so good. If, like I said, if you are building Gear Chronicle specifically for competitive reasons, you need this card. Then we play 4 copies of Steam Breath Dragon. This card is a must at 4 as well. First skill, Vanguard or Rearguard. During your turn, if you discard a card, he gets 5k, so he can either attack for 13 or boost for 13. He usually is a booster. Then his other skill is when he is placed from the hand, whether that be on your Vanguard or your Rearguard circle, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck for a grade 3 unit. And then if there is one there, you can put it into your hand. And if you added a card to your hand, you then discard a card and then shuffle your deck. So Steam Breath is just so good. If you you need to see a grade 3 in your opening hand, because like what I said at the earlier part of this video, if you do not see a grade 3, this deck just folds. And folds hard. So Steam Breath is you're going to use to try and get to your grade 3 if you don't draw into it with your Chrono Tooth plays and other things. And then lastly, our last grade 1 is 3 copies of Quickie Quick Worker. Or Quickie Worker. Good lord, this card. It is a very good card. It is a must-have at least 3 in the deck. Whenever she's placed, you get to take a card from your drop zone and put it on the bottom of your deck. If the card that you placed there was grade 3 or greater, you can Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. The draw card is nice, but sometimes we need to put our stride units back in the deck simply for just to reuse them, so that's why she's there. The draw 1, though, is nice. Grade 2 units, we got ourselves 4 copies of Smoke Gear Dragon. This is easily the best grade 2 that we have at the moment. He's a 15k attacker. Anytime he swings, whether it's on the Vanguard or the Rearguard, really nice effect. And then if you have a grade 4 Vanguard, so basically if you strode that turn, you get to Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. So that's nice. And then his other skill, really, really good, is if he's on your Rearguard and Chrono Jet is your Vanguard, anything you discard gains +3 to the grade. So no matter what you discard will be sufficient to pay the cost for stride. So really good card. Just be prepared when you place this on the field. Your opponent is going to go after him. Next, we play 4 copies of Steam Skara Irka. Her ability, Vanguard or Rearguard, once a turn, you can counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand, and then one of your Vanguards gets +1 drive until end of turn. So you can use this to give +1 drive to any of your Vanguards. Usually it's going to be to a unit that you stride. And then you can technically give it to her or the grade 2 that you ride if you want to give him twin drive. That is an idea. So that is an option. And then if you discard her from your hand, she counts as a grade 3. So. And then for the last grade 2, we play 4 copies of Steam Mechanic Naboo. Naboo is a very underrated card, and Rearguard ability, whenever it attacks a Vanguard, you can bind a card from your drop zone, and your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater cards from his or her hand until the end of that battle, and then at the end of that battle, put this unit into your soul and draw a card. So, really good. She gets you a draw, and sometimes that Sentinel block ability of hers can catch your opponent off guard. It has, in a few games that I've tested, she can catch your opponent. So she is definitely worth a spot in the deck. Next, for grade 3s, we play 4 copies of Chronojet Dragon. So Chronojet Dragon is back, and he's still no pushover. He's still a very, very good card. First ability is obviously the new method of striding. As you know, or if you don't know, with Gear Chronicle and Standard, striding happens in the main phase. So you can activate it, at the beginning of your main phase, at the end of your main phase, in the middle. You can call some units and then stride. You can stride and then call some units. Just a very different way that we're used to, but it is still a very, very good mechanic. So, and then keep in mind that at the end of your turn, when you de-stride and you ride him, it does count as another ride. So you would be able to get another Force 1 or Force 2, whichever one you select. So you can build up force markers pretty quick. And then his other ability, it's a Vanguard or Rearguard skill. Whenever he attacks, you may counterblast 1 until the end of that turn. He gets plus 5k, and your opponent cannot call Sentinels from his or her hand. So they won't be able to use their draw PGs, their grade 1 PGs, or their Sentinel crits on him. And that is a Vanguard or Rearguard skill. Very good card. Very, very, very good card. He has the fact that he has that effect on the Rearguard. There have been some games where I literally have had 3 Chronojet, and I've strode, attack, 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 and it can get pretty crazy. Chronojet is still a very good card. And then I play also 1 copy of Chronofang Tiger. Now, the reason for this is 4 grade 3s is only 4 grade 3s is very risky. Like I said, if you do not see a grade 3 when you need to see a grade 3, this deck will just lose. It holds the same value as original Gear Chronicle. It needs to be able to stride. That is what the deck does. If it can't do that, the deck won't win. That's what it revolves around. It can't survive without it. So this is in here. If you were to say, draw this into your opening hand, hold on to it while digging for a copy of Chronojet. If you don't see any of your Chronojets, this is better than nothing. Chronofang Tiger, you can still access your strides. You can... he still has the same first skill as Chronojet, where you can stride, and then at the end of the turn when you de-ride, you can get another marker. If you do happen to ride Chronofang Rebellion Tiger on him, you can discard a card and give him +1 crit and +1 drive. So that should give away something. So that leaves our stride units, and I play 3 copies, believe it or not, of Chrono Tiger Rebellion. Chrono Tiger Rebellion is by far a very, very underappreciated card, in my opinion, as far as playability goes. This card is so good and so versatile. He covers a lot of weaknesses that the deck may have, and he can do quite a bit. So, first skill is, well, he only has 1 skill, but it has many different levels, so we'll just go through it. Vanguard, when it attacks, activate all of the effects below according to the number of cards in your hand. If you have 5 cards in your hand or less, you get to choose 2 of your opponent's front row rear guards and retire them. If you have 3 or less, all of your front row gets... 3 units in your front row, 3 units in your front row get plus 10k, which means your entire front row is going to gain 10k since this is a Force Clan. And then if you have 1 or less cards in your hand, you turn all of the cards in your damage zone face down, and this unit gets the ability of all of your opponent's guardians get minus 5k until end of turn. So this card does so much for you. You're going to be able to clear out your opponent's front row. You're going to be able to gain some power. Typically with this deck, I go Force 2. So when you ride on him, you're going to be able, if you do manage to get the plus 10k as well, or if you have a decent boost, you're going to be swinging pretty decent. If you also happen to have this in play and give him +1 drive, you're going to be able to get a triple drive out of that, and you're going to be able to put on some really, really good damage. The reason this card is also really good is you can go into this while your opponent is on grade 2, and that is a huge factor of why we play 3. And another reason that makes I bring that up is I only play 2 copies of Next Stage. And the reason Next Stage is only 2 is because you can only really use Next Stage's ability if your opponent is also on grade 3. So that is one thing that does hurt him. So Chrono Dragon Next Stage, at the end of the battle that it attacked a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, if your soul has Chrono Jet Dragon, discard 2 cards from your hand, retire this unit, and then ride a Chrono Jet Dragon from your soul as stand, and until end of turn, that unit gets plus 15k, and you cannot ride. So, basically what this means is if your Vanguard is Chrono Jet, you can go into Next Stage, you can attack with Next Stage, and then ride Chrono Jet from your soul, standing, and then he'll gain plus 15k, bringing him up to 28 by himself. And the part where it says, and you cannot ride, which means you basically cannot restride again. So what you do is you swing, get your Chrono Jet, and then you can go into your second attack with Chrono Jet, and he's going to get a total of plus 15k from Next Stage, and then plus 5k off his skill, so he'll be 33 by himself, and obviously have the Sentinel restriction. So you can still go into Next Stage if you ride Chrono Tiger, or Chrono Fang Tiger, I'm sorry. You just won't be able to use his skill to revert and attack again, because that only works with Chrono Jet. This right here is the biggest debate. Like, okay, so I have 2 different versions of this deck. This is the version that I like the best. Now, if you notice this deck just does not work for you with 5 grade 3s. 4 grade 3s is a thing, but I find that the deck percentages of seeing a grade 3 go up significantly with a 5th one. There is another build that I considered, but I'm really not sure about it. You only play 4 units to stride, and then you play 3 Chrono Jet and 3 Chrono Fang Tiger. But I really am not so sure about that, because the reason is Chrono Fang Tiger is a good card if it's on your Vanguard. As a rear guard, he is worthless. So I could, if I was going to go to 6, as weird as this may seem, I would probably I'd probably drop one of the Rebellions and put in a second Chrono Fang if I wanted a 6th grade 3. But I think this, honestly, is the best formula. This is the #1 problem that Gear Chronicle players in general run into, is you have to figure out how many grade 3s you want to play, how many stride units do you want to play, because they all are in the same deck. If you draw this, you could essentially just ride him during your ride phase and do it that way. Just keep in mind that if you ride this over Chrono Fang, you're stuck. So, same with if you ride Rebellion over Jet. So you just got to be aware of that. But like I said, this deck is fun. It is definitely nothing to sneeze at. You you have to approach the game a little bit different, and it's very weird the first few hands that you play Gear Chronicle in Standard if you played Gear Chronicle in the V era. So, and feel free to try many different combinations. Like I said, this was the best combination that I could come up with. If I were to change anything, I would probably flip one of these Rebellions to another Chrono Fang if I needed to. But this right here seems to be the good number for me. It's just you can't really cut into your grade 1s and 2s anymore, because you don't want to. You can't miss Ride in this deck. You just can't. So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun building the deck. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys about it. If you have any other ideas or comments or questions, feel free to put them below and I'll answer them. Also, there's going to be another video posted with both of these deck profiles, so please make sure you check that out. There's going to be some really cool information in that video. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you soon.